6:30, Friday, July 31st, 2020. Last day of July. So we close the chapter and open up a new one in August. So welcome in. Thanks for everybody for joining us today. This week's code of conduct is to don't overpromise or underdeliver. That's very important with our communication to our employees, our clients, our vendors, to try to really follow this code item with our communication. Highlight this week. Another 7 days without a recordable injury. Excellent job. We've gone through the whole month of July without a recordable, and actually ever since the coronavirus pandemic hit, we've been working pretty safe. We definitely had some close encounters, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about here today. Another highlighting, last week Alberta did an excellent job on kind of injury prevention. We've seen a lot of close calls, near misses, you may want to say, regarding our eyes and how to protect our eyes and how important it is to report these things to health and safety so we can kind of prevent them to become a reportable injury. And the same thing kind of correlates with what we're going to talk about today, is the access and egress situations that we face each and every day in the construction field. We're going to talk about 4 different situations: trenching, trailers, our equipment, scaffolding, and planking. Those are kind of the most common types of situations where we see either high risk or also high probability for a workplace accident to occur. The potential injuries that we are going to try to avoid are those soft tissues, the ligaments and muscle sprains. That's what we see when we're getting in and out of trenches or trailers or equipment or working and moving around on scaffolding or planking, is we slip a little bit and injure a shoulder, a knee, twist an ankle, hurt our wrist, or injure our back. So we're going to talk about those different type of scenarios. So the first one here is just excavating and trenching. Again, we want to have proper means of egress anytime our trench or excavation is deeper than 4. But even if it's 4 feet, even if it's 2 feet, the constant strenuous of doing a 2-foot or 3-foot lunge out of an excavation and trench each and every day, because what it gets us, it's the frequency, how much we're in and out of these things, carrying tools and objects in and out of these trenches and excavations. So anytime that we can do a nice slope, like you see this at the UVM project, that's the left-hand slide there, this nice gradual slope to get down and to perform all the concrete work, all the pipe work that needs to be done. It's nice means of egress. And then one on the right here is we got a ladder for that trench work, so we can have good 3 points of contact getting in and out of our trenches. We see a lot of little times where an employee might slip, or the bank might kind of give out, this is just like a 2-foot excavation or trench where it just kind of, you slide down the bank. I think we've all kind of been in those situations where you just kind of slide in and out, and those are all opportunities for a potential injury or a strain to occur. So anytime that we can kind of have designated means of egress, a nice earthen slope in, gradual slope in, that stone that can prevent any slipping, tripping hazards, is our best practice to avoid any of those types of situations. Now, regarding trailers, we've had a lot of accidents in the last decade on trailers, and a lot of it's access and means of egress, jumping off and on, like you see kind of on the slide on the left-hand side here. How many times do we go up and down this? It's about a 34-inch drop off, constantly lunging, climbing. There's a high probability of the amount of frequency overreaching that has to be done each and every day to get up. So we've purchased and we've invested a lot into these little step deck or trailer ladder systems that you see on the left-hand side. So easy means of egress, a lot easier on our joints, knees, to get in and out with using 3 points of contact. And it's just a lot safer and a more efficient way, because again, it's, we do appreciate the sense of urgency for all of our employees give each and every day. But again, we don't want you to sacrifice your health due to that sense of urgency or potential unsafe behavior preventing a shortcut. So let's utilize and let's think out of the box sometimes how we can make an activity safer and easier on each other. So adding ladder systems to our trailers is something that we've been doing for the last 2+ years. So if there's a situation that you need a ladder for, please let us know and we can get one coming. And then equipment. We have a lot of times where we're accessing equipment, you're talking 50 to 100 times a day in some cases. And again, we appreciate the sense of urgency to get out and help somebody on the ground, but we need to make sure that we're doing it safely as well. So this is right out of the operator's manual of a John Deere excavator on the safety sides, pages of the operator's manual. So to use handholds and steps, falling is one of the major causes of personal injury. When you get on and off a machine, always maintain 3 points of contact with the steps and handrails and face the machine, and do not use any controls as handholds. Never jump on or off a machine, never mount or dismount a moving vehicle, and always be careful of slippery conditions on platforms, steps, handrails when leaving the machine. We see, usually each year, we see a amount of potential recordable injuries or soft tissue injuries regarding mounting and dismounting equipment. So again, this is a really important topic to maintain our 182-day record and moving forward into that 200 and beyond threshold, is that we really make sure that we don't take unnecessary risks mounting and dismounting equipment. And the last one here is our scaffolding, planking, big exposure with all the concrete work. This is mostly our concrete workers, some of our rail workers as well, where we have these situations that we're working mostly on planking and some type of scaffolding system, if it's a form scaffold system or if it actually is your standard tube and coupler scaffolding systems. But you can see here we're working on planking, so we always want to make sure we inspect our planking all the time. We have good means of egress to get in and off working on our planking. The slide here on the right, you can see where we, instead of working off and jumping on and on ladders, we built a nice little easy access bridge to get onto our formwork and get beyond. It's a nice little tool. Again, it saves a lot of the muscle strains that you might have by always climbing on and off things. Again, when it comes to safety and injury prevention, it's all about looking at your risk, looking at the probability, and weighing those and making good, healthy decisions of, hey, how can we reduce some potential over exertion and spending 30 minutes to build a nice little bridge here. It definitely was well worth it, and that project went really, really smooth because of it. So those are some important topics that I wanted to share with everybody today, because again, for us to maintain our excellent safety record in 2020 and moving into our historically higher injury types of seasons is this August, September, and October months. So these next 3 months are going to be very, very big as the hot days and the repeat type of hazards that we might get complacent with come up and bite us and potentially injure one of us. So that's what we're here to try to prevent and raise the awareness in these 4 areas, because these 4 areas are very critical to making sure that we don't let our guards down. I'm going to pass it over to Ken for his presentation, and then Brendan for the job of the week.
Okay, thanks. So you'll give let me get my screen.
Yep, you're going to be the presenter.
Okay, show my screen. There we go. All right. Says eye injury prevention. I thought I changed the topic. I guess I didn't. Anyway, same type of theme anyway, to prevent injuries, and today was egress and access. So very good topics for sure. So for announcements, just carrying the same announcement from a few weeks ago, where we received this 2020 health declaration form with our paychecks. It's also available by clicking the link there that's underlined right there. And it contains just a declaration form essentially for you and all employees. Everyone has mostly have completed yet already. And the idea is to fill it out and declare if you have health insurance, who provides the health insurance, and that sort of thing. We need to submit it today, so it's absolutely due today. So if you haven't submitted it, I'm sure you certainly need to, but I'm sure also you'll be on a list. So maybe you want to get off the list before you're on it. For this week, we're also highlighting some promotions throughout the company. We have 3 of them here. Ken Allard as a foreman engineer, Brian Martell as operating foreman, and Brad Barrup as operating foreman. So congratulations to all these guys. Great to see guys stepping up when they've met that level of experience and commitment, and commitment to safety too, obviously. So we're happy to see people wanting to step up and move into a greater role in the company. And no new employees this week. And also we have listed the COVID-19 policies and information. Again, these are links and available. So with that, I'll turn it over back to Matt, so Brendan can follow up with the rest of the presentation.
Okay, Brendan, you have the controls. You're self-muted, Brendan, just so you know.
How about now?
We can hear you now. Perfect. Thank you.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So this week we're going to highlight the West Rutland project. Can you see the West Rutland portion? I have multiple screens. What do you see right now?
Yep. I don't know if you can blow it up a little bit. It's a little small on our end, but
yep.
Perfect.
So we're going to highlight the West Rutland FPAVE project. So for this project, ECI is a sub to Hutchins, but we're also a second tier sub to FR Lafayette. So we'll go through kind of the different components of work that we have. The first component of work is the traffic signal work. So there are 2 intersections where ECI was contracted to perform signal upgrades. So at the Route 4 and Route 4A intersection, we're responsible for installing 3 new mast arm poles and foundations. We're installing all of the associated conduit runs and junction boxes, and then we also installed new signal heads, vehicle detection, preemption, 360-degree cameras, and other associated equipment. There was another component of this project on the Vermont Route 3 and Route 4 intersection. At this location, there was an existing strain pole. So our contract was just to remove the signals off of the strain wire and then replace them with an upgraded signal system, including preemption and vehicle detection and kind of all the standard things that we would normally see. Unfortunately, we've run into a couple hiccups along the way with this, primarily due to COVID. And the biggest one is that there's been some manufacturing delays with the controller cabinets that control all the signal systems on the 2 intersections. And so we're going to end up remobbing to this project in mid-August to complete the signal scope. Currently, the mast arm poles are up and all of the underground work is complete. And now we're just waiting to install the signals and get the intersections up and running. So you can see here, looks like mast arm pole foundations, driving the casings, setting the mast arm poles, hanging luminaire brackets. So another component of this work is that there was a railroad crossing scope. So just a little bit up the road from the Route 4 and Route 4A intersection, there's a railroad crossing. And so we were contracted as part of the same project to go in and do a full depth reconstruction. So you can see in this picture here the completed work. Ron's guys came through and they dug out the existing intersection, removed the existing crossing, and then put in new ballast, new ties, new precast crossing panels, and some other associated work like conduit runs and under drains. And then they also replaced all the existing signal heads with new 12-inch LED signal heads. This was done over 2 phases where we had traffic shifting from one side of the road to the other. And then the last component of work is the overhead sign foundations. So before you get to the business Route 4 and Route 4 intersection, the state had 2 overhead signs, which are, you know, the sign structures that come up vertically and span the entire road. So those structures required drilled shaft foundations. So we were actually hired by Lafayette as a second tier sub to install 8 drilled shaft foundations. These were 30-inch diameter and approximately 16 feet below grade. On the overhead 2 foundations, we encountered just a ridiculous amount of groundwater. So we ended up overdriving the casings by 8 feet, and then that sufficiently cut off the groundwater for us to finish backing out the casings and get down to final depth. So it looks like there's Mark welding up sort of our collars. For us, a 30-inch casing is a little bit non-standard because most of what we designed in-house is 42-inch, so we had to fabricate some templates. More pictures of the work. And then the archive photo looks like some more intersection work. Clarendon Route 103 and 7 intersection in 2005. And that's all I got. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Brendan. Appreciate it. Everybody, enjoy. It's going to be a beautiful day. Let's be out there. Let's work safe. Let's eliminate those unsafe conditions and don't perform any unsafe acts. And let's be safe today. Enjoy the last day of July. See you soon.